Bill Maher goes on one of the largest podcasts on the left, Pod Save America.
Let's right. You got to go. That's good. That's it. You're just leaving?
Go. Yeah, I'm just leaving.
Let's just say it goes sideways. He ends up walking off.
There was a very big story this year. It was in the front page of the New York Times. Mm-hmm. A woman, I forget her name, and she had done, like, it was a 10-year study, did not release it on purpose because she said it would weaponize the argument from the other side.
And this is a good example of how we make sense of the world through stories, and often we will override facts, data, and studies because they don't fit within the story that we want to be true.
So in other words, it came out not the way you wanted the study to come out.
Yeah.
Not what you said, that it's, all the studies show that. No, it is a mixed bag.
What are you trying to use this fact for? What is the story in which it fits? How are you wielding this fact? Because it's not enough to recognize an objective truth. It depends on how you are using that objective truth. And if you're not using it in a way that's acceptable, even acknowledging that objective reality is wrong, according to him.
And again, this was a very long study, very thorough, and they wouldn't release it because it came out with the wrong conclusion.
But the reason because it is a hard question, because it is a serious question.
Right.
This guy's trying to give an excuse for why that would be acceptable not to publish that study because it's a hard conversation.
The Democratic position is leave it up to parents, doctors. Just leave. It's not the government's decision. That's the Democratic position. What's wrong with that position?
Okay, would you apply that to tattoos? If the parents decide that their kid can drink alcohol or get a tattoo or buy cigarettes, and you see a 12-year-old smoking a cigarette, is that okay?
But to take that risk at that age before you know shit about anything,
and the least bad answer is to not have the government decide from above. It's just to leave it up to people and parents and the kids and the doctors, right? You want the government to ban gender-affirming care for kids?
If what you mean by gender-affirming care is irreversible medical procedures for minors, that is the argument in a nutshell. So, yeah.
The Democratic position in this state has been that the school has the right to hide it from the parents.
He does something remarkable here. He goes from arguing that it's so important that parents be able to override the laws that are set in place to protect minors to then, well, there are bad parents in the world, therefore parents cannot be trusted.
We all believe that parents should have the decisions over their children, but we also recognize that some parents do such a bad fucking job that the kids are in danger. That happens outside of trans issues. That happens all the time. It's terrible.
This is just a good example of this logical reversal. There's a complete lack of logical consistency here.
Some parents are fucking terrible. Somehow the fact that there are terrible parents in the world gets erased on these questions. Do I think that schools should, as a baseline, be keeping a secret from parents? Of fucking course not. No one thinks that. No one thinks
apparently
that.
But what are you proposing we do? Because there are bad parents. That is the question.
That they put this in their head too much. That's my thing. Should you tell a kid, look, there's a default setting for humans, male and female, but there are variations. That's absolutely true.
10 years ago, 20 years ago, the pattern that we're seeing now is not occurring. So something has happened psychologically.
Trump said there's only two sexes. Again, pendulum swinging way too far to stupidity, okay? Obviously, sex is more complicated than just two sexes.
It is objective fact that there are two biological sexes. It's a matter of how this is approached by law. And Trump is saying when it comes to the law, we can only recognize these two sexes when it comes to spaces, bathrooms. If we change that when it comes to laws, that is what opens up the potential for a man to decide tomorrow he's a woman and then legally gain access to spaces he would not otherwise have access to, or to compete in sports he would not be able to compete in. People are taking that as though it's a war on people's ability to identify as trans.
And the truth is, we talk about these edge cases, talk about athletes, talk about locker rooms, but for the most part, what we're talking about is a very small group of people that just want the opportunity to live and express themselves. And there is a war on that group of people from the right to make salient extreme cases, edge cases, not for the purposes of stopping those, but for doing what the Trump administration is doing entirely, which is stopping all gender-affirming care altogether and making trans people fucking nervous when they have to pee at the airport.
He's making a leap from The legal recognition of two genders when it comes to the law, now claiming that no one can identify as trans as being Trump's goal. Where's the evidence that Trump is trying to stop everyone's ability to be trans? We're talking about adults here.
This is going to sound confrontational. For a long time, people said, older gay people are recruiting kids to be gay. And they wouldn't really be gay. It was they were being recruited, they were being groomed, that they were being drawn. That was the conservative position. The Christian right position for a long time was the reason you didn't want to have gay teachers is they're going to recruit.
That's a generalization. Say this was the conservative position, the Christian right position. There are some people that believe that, and there are some cases where that will occur.
That the gay lifestyle is going to look so enticing and so exciting that it's going to bring these poor defenseless boys, they mostly boys, into the gay lifestyle and destroy their lives. But of course that wasn't true. Really, all gay teachers were an example. Right?
Yeah.
All gay teachers are examples. Examples of what? Your sexuality should have nothing to do with your teaching.
You think, or a lot of people on the left think, that even if you just have this debate, it makes you a bigot. You just have to roll over. That was, you asked about the Biden administration. That was their position. If you even question this, you're some sort of a bigot. And this is new science, and it has to do with children. And it's not going to look good in the future, that position.
Can I just respond to something?
Now you can.
Now I can respond.
This is true for many conversations today. And I think that is the key point.
You want to lose every election, just keep coming down on the side of parents coming in second in a who gets to decide what goes on with my kid contest.
First of all, I'm not.
The inability to even have the conversation, to even question these concepts, or you become categorized as a bigot.
There are a few examples of people getting older and realizing that they shouldn't have transitioned. That happens. It's real. That's real.
Yeah, more than a few.
But there are also really important surgeries that people get for their heart, and they go wrong, and somebody dies. And nobody says we must stop the cardiologists. No one says we must stop the surgeons. We say, let's...
That's your analogy?
Well, they've been talking for an hour and a half at this point. I think he comes to the conclusion that he can already see every move this guy's going to make.
The science, the research, all right, makes clear that, yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are people practicing it in ways that maybe go too far. But for the most part, study after study shows that gender-affirming care saves... I'm talking. It's my turn. I was so quiet for so long after I interrupted a few times.
But okay.
But once I stopped talking, boy, I was good at it. And that gender-affirming care saves a lot of lives, right? Which is the end result of all this.
And of course, that's awful, and I agree with all that, except the part about the studies.
Yeah, this interview is a debate, and it captured the attention of many people because it is revealing. Bill Maher is one of the more sensible voices today that is left-leaning. He's pointing out, he's making really good observations about the core reasons that the left continues to lose.
So I'm not talking about winning or losing election. I agree with all that, but I'm just talking about the issue itself. What did that card say?
Can I take this one home as
It ends in the moment where I think that Bill Maher was just thinking, I'm too old for this. And he's just like, I got things to do, buddy.
Let's you gotta go. That's good. That's it. You're just leaving?
Go. Yeah, I'm just leaving.
Bill Maher, everybody.
Thank you.
It just ends it. It's kind of, he's like, you're just gonna leave now? And he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave. It's as simple as that. It's an interesting one.